Hello everyone, I am back, Mr. Hine, and this video is to talk about what we're learning in our next chapter, which is on transformation. So we're getting away from linear equations, and that will be coming back next semester, but for now, transformations. Now, what is a transformation? A transformation is just another way for, a way an object, moves. Math terminology wise. So we're talking about objects moving. And there's three ways you can move an object. There's three ways to move an object without changing it. And those three are what you're going to be seeing today and tomorrow, which are translations, reflections, and rotations. Now, those are the math words for it. Better to understand as a translation is like you can slide an object. So you can take an object and slide it. A reflection is like a mirror where it flips. And a rotation is like a turn. And we're going to go through all three of those today. Now, for all three of these, you move an object and it does not change it. So if your object looks different, you might have messed up. All right, so number one, say we have an object, and this is a four-sided shape with vertices N, T, C, W. And we want to translate it, which again, translate means slide. 3 units right and 3 units down. So what that means is you just take every point and go right 3 and then down 3. So if we look at W, it's going to go right 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. So right there is W, but we don't call it W, we call it W prime because it's W after it's done a transformation. C, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's C, and now we call it C prime because it just did one transformation. N, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's N prime, and T, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's T prime, and then you can connect it and notice that the shape did not change, just slid over. And that's a translation. Okay. Let's look at the next one. A reflection. So a reflection is like you flip something. And with reflections, there's always something called a line of reflection. So in 5, it says reflect across the x-axis. So the x-axis is this one. So I'm going to do a dashed line here to highlight it. And what you flip it across, this right here, is called your line of reflection. And the way reflections work is it's like if you picture a mirror, the way reflections work is it's actually the same distance away on both sides. If you look at yourself in a mirror, whether on your phone, an actual mirror in your bathroom, as you get closer to the mirror versus when you get farther away, your reflection is doing the same thing. So with reflections, maybe one thing you note is reflections are the same distance away, or the same distance away from the line of reflection. So if I look at this one here, well, F is on the line. So where's F going to go? Well, since it's on the line, it's going to stay on the line. So this is F, but again, we don't call it F. We would say F prime, the new point. Now K is a distance of 2 away from the line of reflection. So if it's a true reflection, if it's 2 away on this side, it's going to be 2 away on this side. So then K prime is now at that point where it's 2 away. And then same thing with the V, from the line, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 away. So then a reflection is going to be 4 away on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is right there. And there's V prime. And if you connect those points, you'll see that it's a perfect reflection over the x-axis. And that's one way to do it. The other way you can do it is, and there are other ways, but imagine like folding the paper over. If you fold the paper over, that's a reflection too. But it can be a bit tricky if your paper's thick or if you can't see through your paper. All right, so that's reflections. And then the last one is rotations, which I do not have. So let's look at, say, I'm going to change this one. So for our purposes, say this says rotation, and we'll do 90 degrees about the origin, and we're going to go clockwise. So notice with rotations, all the things happening here. It tells us an amount, so it tells us how much to turn, how much. About the origin is what's called the point of rotation, and clockwise is the direction. So with rotations, there's three things that are going on, and you know this, you just haven't ever thought about all three probably. So the way I want you to understand rotations is if you have a piece of paper that's really light, I'm going to see if I can do it on graph paper. Graph paper might be too thick, but this is what I'll try to do it with. And I don't know if you have something better. You might need to use the lighting to help see it. Notice if I lift it up, you can kind of see through here. Right. So what you're going to do is with paper on top, you're going to trace your picture. So I'm going to try and trace it like so. So there it is, and then we have the points Q, Z, C. Yeah, so I have it traced on top. And then what it said here is, if I look back, it says 90 degrees, okay, about the origin. So the origin is 0, 0. And that's the point, when I say point of rotation, that's the point that stays still. So when it comes to rotations, see if I can line this up again. Okay, hopefully you can see that I'm lining it up. And then at 0, 0, so if I'm looking on the paper, 0, 0 is right there. I'm going to do a plus sign right there. There's my, there's 0, 0. All right. And then what happens is when I do my rotation, I put my pen or pencil at that point. Sorry, don't let my finger feel. At that point, and that point stays still. All right. Now, before I start doing that, let's just look. So clockwise, what direction is clockwise? Clockwise moves a clock to its right. And just note that counterclockwise is the opposite way a clock moves, which is to its left. All right. So let's make sense of this now. Let's put it all together and see how rotation works. So I'm going to line it up. Hopefully you can see me trying to line it up. I put my plus sign at the origin. So hold my pencil. Now I'm going to do 90 degrees to my right. So after holding my pen there, that means I move my paper, the top one, 90 degrees in the direction of a clock, which is, trying to do it on my end, this way. All right, that's clockwise. And what you do with the plus sign, why I do a plus sign, is you rotate until the plus sign is back facing the top. And there it is. So notice the plus sign is facing normal again, up and down. So then what I can do is I know where it's at on my paper, a rough sketch. So if I line it up, I know that it's going to be right about, and I wish I could be more accurate and we had tracing paper, but it looks like it's going to be right here. And there it is. And which point's which if I line it up? So I know that this point is Q prime now. This point is where Z went, so that's Z prime. And C went right there, and that's C prime. And just like that, that's how you might do a rotation with the tools we have. Okay. So if there's, and there are other methods, maybe you know about them, but that's the method that we'd be doing if we're in person. I want you to try to be able to do at home. So at your point of rotation, make a plus sign. One turn is 90 degrees. Two turns is 180 degrees. Three turns is 270, and four turns is back at 360, which is back where you started. And if you imagine basketball or any sport and they say I did a 360, at 360, let me show my paper. At 360, you do a full rotation, you're back where you started. What I mean by that, so what I mean by these four, because I know for in person you might be asking, is so say the paper was, the original triangle was here, and I'm going, so if I turn it once, where the plus sign is facing forward again, that's 90 degrees, one turn. Do it a second time, that's 180 degrees, two turns. A third time, the plus sign matches up or is looking like a normal plus sign. That's three turns, that's 270. And notice, if I do one more, my fourth turn, I'm back where I started, 360 degrees, 4 turns of 90 degrees. Okay. So do your best with it. I'll be giving you feedback, and after you turn in this assignment, make sure you look back at it the next day and see how you did, if there's any changes you need to make before you end up trying it another day on this. On rotations, reflections, and translations, and don't forget about labeling the new points with the primes. All right, hope that helped. Bye-bye.